Well, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon or evening, whatever time it might be that you're watching this. Welcome. Welcome to day 2 of the 21 days of prayer and fasting here at Revolve Church. Every year, we start our year off with a season of prayer and fasting. And we've done this thing a variety of ways. And this year, the way we're doing it is we're bringing to you an online devotion. Every morning we're going to release a brand new online devotion. And here's the good news: it's not only going to be me. I have many of my friends and people that lead and serve here at Revive Church that are going to be participating in this. And even some mornings we're going to release an interview that we've had where we just have a conversation and we capture it on video to allow you to be part of the conversation. The purpose, though, I want to share with you real quickly this morning before I dive into my devotion. The purpose is simple. We've provided this booklet for you. It's called the Pray First booklet. And it's actually 30 days. This book goes on for 30 days. And this is really something, it goes on for 28 days. 28 days. This is a booklet that you could actually start. And once you finish it, you could restart it. And we've provided it for you. And we're going to be following it. So today, we're going to be in day 2. And every day you'll see as you follow along, you can actually take notes and be a part of this, not only watching and listening, but you could be participating. So the purpose, though, for my day today, I'm going to be talking about Jesus, and Jesus is the only way. But before I do, I want you to remember this every single morning that you watch this. This is the purpose of it. We want to refocus our attention, our priorities. We want to recognize all that God's already done in our life. We want to repent. We want to change some things in our lives. And repent's always had a negative connotation sort of to it. But honestly, sometimes we just need to be honest with ourselves. We need to repent. We need to change the course that we're heading down, or the direction. And sometimes we do need to repent and ask for forgiveness for sin we've committed. And the fourth thing we need to do is we should request, ask God exactly what it is we're asking for, and then we should reflect. And I hope that each morning as you watch these 5 to 10 minute videos, that what you'll do at the end is you'll take some time and you'll reflect yourself on all that God's done, and maybe what is God saying to you right now. This morning, I'm going to be in the book of John, chapter 14, just one verse, verse 6. John 14, verse 6. But before I get there, I just want to tell you that sometimes I lose track. Even as a pastor and as a Christian leader, I lose track of exactly where I'm headed or what I'm doing, or better yet, why I'm doing what I'm doing. As a pastor of a church, I have goals. And the goal is to grow the church. I want to see the church full of people. I want to see people becoming disciples. I want to see people meeting God. I want to see people finding God's purpose for their life. And I do that by leading a church. And sometimes I want to look at the growth, and the growth becomes my why behind it. But that's really not the why. The why behind the what is Jesus. And I don't know about you, maybe you've thought, like the world says today, there's so many different ways or pathways, I guess, to happiness. And that's true. There's a pathway of health that leads to happiness. There's a pathway of financial success that leads to happiness. There's a pathway of relationships, of having good friends and family, or having your own family, a wife or a husband and children, that leads to happiness. There's a pathway of materials, of having a home and a car, that leads to happiness. But there's only one way that really leads to something greater than happiness. And that's a place of holiness. In John chapter 14, verse 6, this is what Jesus says about himself. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. Now, I'm like you. A lot of times I get on the wrong pathway. And I begin to pursue happiness and not holiness. And that can happen to so many of us because the world offers so many things. And there's nothing wrong with having a nice car, having financial success, a little bit of breathing room in your budget. Man, isn't that a good feeling? Or having good friends that you enjoy being around, or having a family. There's nothing wrong with those things. But the problem is when we allow those things to take a higher priority than the one thing that leads to holiness. And that's our time with Jesus Christ and who Jesus is. Jesus says he's the way, the truth, and the life. And here's what that means. That means that only through Jesus can we truly find God and his purpose for our life. And our time sometimes, I don't know about you, but our time sometimes can be spent doing other things more than or before we do the most important things. So during this season of prayer and fasting, I want to challenge you to every single morning spend a little bit of time with the one who is the way, the truth, and the life. The one that is the pathway to holiness. Spending a few moments every day before you do anything else with Jesus. Now, we're going to release these videos at 6 a.m. every morning, and maybe you get up and get your day started before that, and that's fine. Here's what you can do. You can start a day later, and you can watch yesterday's video. But before you really start planning out when you're going to do this, I want to ask you a question. Could you imagine with me what it would look like if all of the Christians in the world began to live their life as Jesus really was the only way, the only truth, and the only way to everlasting life? What if we did that? You know, I believe the churches would be full on Sunday morning. I believe that hungry people would be fed, and I believe that homelessness would begin to cease to exist. And I believe that relationships would become more meaningful. I believe that we would invite our friends to our churches once we believe that Jesus is the only way, and we begin to live a life as if we truly believe that. I believe everything changes. So here's what I want you to do. Take a few moments this morning and reflect on all that Jesus has already done in your life. And then reflect on these things. Ask yourself this question: what am I doing that demonstrates Jesus is the only way? Jesus is the only way in my life. And I demonstrate this by what? Man, I hope that you'll stay with us for the full 21 days. This is only day 2. I hope that you'll be a part of this, because I truly believe that as we refocus, that we're going to regain some ground and we're going to have fresh vision for this year in our life. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. I pray God's blessing over you. Can't wait to see you again. God bless.